go back there and get y'all candles. Next, we'll bring up the beard flexing in a few minutes. But right now, we want to talk to Jason and we want to talk to Miss Robin. Do a little slide. I'm gonna do a little slide. So I wanted to tell you guys, a lot of people think ownership is important, right? How about ownership on your life and what you want to do, what you want to be, and how you want to be it? Like living proof of everything you're doing, right? Robin is a cannabis owner.
I stay ready.
And you know what? Let's give it up for that. You know what's crazy? I mean, I don't smoke weed, but it's not all about that with the cannabis. In that gray area, that industry. Can you tell us about your industry and how you got started?
Absolutely. So as she mentioned, my name is Robin with a V. I am the owner of 64 and Hope. We are named after Proposition 64 that legalized cannabis in California.
Yes.
And the hope to create social equity and dismantle the systemic inequalities for us, Black and brown people. We have 2 locations. Mine is on Melrose in Hollywood. The other location is on La Cienega, right next to Kaiser. So pull up, either one. Being in this industry is very fun.
How fun is it? What's the fun about it?
So fun. It's so hard, but it also challenges you and tests your limits as ownership in the cannabis industry as a whole. It was built off the backs of our brothers, our Black and brown brothers that were targeted, immensely by the police. And the idea was that social equity, we are social equity dispensaries. So there's social equity licenses that were given by the city to repair the damage, but it's done more damage than anything because they haven't really set it up to really help us maneuver through, because the ones that don't look like us, they are actually the leaders in this industry that was built on our backs. So it's a constant fight, but...
And being a woman, is it a constant fight more?
Absolutely. Women ownership in the cannabis industry make about 4%. And then when you break it down to Black women, that's a decimal. That's like 0.3, 4. It's very, very low. So
we got to give it up to you for that. You in that point. Maybe you could be 1.5.
My decimal matters.
Yes.
I'm definitely fighting hard to keep it intact. But I love to be a part of it because, like you said, it's not just about smoking weed. There's so many healing benefits of the plants. I have chemo patients. I have ALS. I have, people that just need stress relief, anxiety relief. We have tinctures, bath bombs. Bath salts. We have pleasure oils. We have more than just flour and pre-rolls and edibles, So I like to tell people you can come in and partake and work yourself off of the big pharma drugs, because those are the real drugs, right? It's just more healthy and more natural with the plant.
How hard has it been for you? I see. The eyes went up. And as a woman, I feel like we kind of have that thing where we fight against ourselves a lot. I don't know if everybody does, but a lot of women I always speak to, we fight against ourselves, our beliefs in things and how we move, we overthink. So how has that journey been for you to stop, pause? Do you do the pleasure smoking, or you do what kind of smoking do you do with that one?
So consumption-wise, I'm more of a social smoker. I really don't smoke by myself, but because I've learned so much in this industry over the year and a half that we've been open, I'm okay, Epsom salts, okay. I had COVID when we first opened, and I used the bath bomb, and I felt like it melted all my symptoms away. The next day, I woke up a whole new person.
I need that.
No, for real. So, I take pleasure in a lot of different things because I have to for research. For research. I need to know
Okay, research.
what to bring into the store. You know
I
what
need
I'm saying?
some. I'm gonna need to pull up on Melrose. If you ain't pulled up, you better pull up on.
Yes, we
tell
will
them
take
where to
care
find
of
you at again.
We will take care of you. We are at 6803 Melrose. We're right in the shopping center next to California Chicken Cafe. And then there's like LA Domain. So we're right in between La Brea and Highland on Melrose, 64 and Hope. And still remember the location because we are rebranding and we will not be 64 and Hope for long, but it'll still be us. It'll still be Black-owned, woman-owned, and we'll still be doing great things. But yeah,
okay, woman-owned.
It's crazy.
Working with women.
One thing I do want to say is when you ask me how hard it is, the capital. The industry is tricky because we're not federally legal. And in that, the state still wants to get their taxes. There's 3 different taxes. So my cousin Ray Ray is on the corner giving you a dub.
Not Ray Ray.
But you're coming into our store and our dub has an extra 34.5 tax on it. And we can't compete because we have no choice. So it's very hard. And just capital-wise, like if you don't have the capital, just do a brand. Do a brand and get in a store. The retail side is very, very hard right now. And so the idea of getting into this was to be able to create generational wealth, to be able to give back to the community and build the culture and things like that. So I'm still fighting for that. But
be proud of yourself.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm doing it.
You know, we tend to think that about it, like we're still doing it, like you're doing it.
Thank you.
It's only up from here. Where else can you go?
Nowhere but up.
I know. I want to ask you something before you leave. Can you give us some advice on getting started, not just in the cannabis world, but any world they want to be in? Can you give us some advice on how you stay focused, how you keep going, and what pleasure do you use when you go to your store every day?
I will say God is first for me. You know, a lot of times we focus on, well, I'm not sure what the future holds. But if you focus more on who holds your future, that is the ammunition that you need to keep going. There are days where I didn't even think I could do it. And then the next day I'm like, well, I did it.
Right.
I'm day 2, day 3. It's a week, months, a year and a half. My store has been open. You know, at the end of the day, we're trading in 9 to 5s for 24/7.
Yes.
We're like, I don't want to do this 9 to 5. I want to work for myself and do what. And then now you don't have a life. Your life is completely consumed. But it's the journey. And when you get to the end of that and you look back, you're like, oh my God.
Yes.
Like, we're going to have a whole round table. I'm like, y'all, I didn't think I was going to make it several times. Yes. And then I woke up, joy comes in the morning.
Yes.
I woke up and
breakfast
I was like,
in the morning. Okay.
I was like, okay. So every time you think you don't have it, God is going to remind you. As long as you keep your eyes on him, that is the strength in itself. And he's going to remind you every time because it's not happening to you, it's happening for you. So
Love it.
I feel like the best advice for that is just keep going. My dad sent me a text the other day and he said, when you find yourself in a problem, as long as you keep moving forward, you will run into the solution. So you keep going. And my pleasure, I'm an edible girl. I don't, smoke flower often, but I have to for research. But if we're talking strain specifics, I'm a sativa diva through and through. I want to be upper. I don't want to be in the couch with indica. And hybrids are cool, but I'm just I'm an upbeat person.
I love it, Robin. You the bomb, girl. If ain't nobody told you, you the bomb. Okay?
Thank you so much for having me and thinking of me. I really
love you,
appreciate
girl.
having me.
You ready to pass the mic?
Pew, pew.
Oh my God. I love you, Robin. So you guys, I wanted to bring Jason here. It's hard to get Jason. Jason outside. Not that type of outside, but you outside. You working.
We here.
Jason is a model and an actor, so that's why I claim to you to be outside. You know what? I want you to tell us, like, did you always want to be an actor, a model? Because we all, when we were kids, your mama said, you're going to be an actor, you're going to be a model, they put you in commercials, you be all on commercials, don't know what you're doing, you be extras for everything, your mama think you can sing. Did you always have, I want to be an actor, I want to be a model?
Not at all. Not close.
So how did that start for you?
So for me, I always, you know, when being young, right, or any baby or whatever, you hear, oh, how you look. It's about how you look. And for me, I never wanted people to see the exterior. You know, so I always made sure that I was top of my class. I always made sure that I had something else going on so that people respect me. Was beyond that. And so it was actually interesting. Like I went to school. I graduated from USC. So every darkness has a seed of hope, has a seed of opportunity in it. And so for me, right after that moment happened, it was a situation where I had to be in the hospital, right? Somebody gives me a journal, right, and just start writing. So that was my first time actually expressing myself in different ways other than what I was accustomed to. Yeah. So 5 years ago, I ended up getting fired from my job in a crazy, reckless way, right? And
not reckless. Let's laugh that off and keep going. Not reckless, but go.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, you know, yeah, so, yeah, I was, yeah, so it was one of those nights. I asked myself, what do I truly want? How do I, if I could design this myself, how do I want to show up? Who do I want to be? And from there, man, I felt like I could finally rest into the flow of the universe. Things have been happening and moving for me my entire life with that thing that I have where I wanted to be known for. It's like, look, if God is going to put you there, who you are is supposed to be there, right? I don't need to go out of my way to be who I am and show that.
Yeah, say that again. You ain't got to be nobody else but yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So this has been a beautiful journey of 5 years that I've been on. And I can say that all the things that I've written down in my life that I wanted to manifest, from, you know, national commercials, being in movies, being amongst the people that I look up to, just did a Super Bowl commercial. You know, these are the things that 5 years ago, if you would have told me I would have had, I'd have been like, oh, it's crazy. Now it's like, oh man, that's cool, but like, you know, I'm looking towards the things that you know, used to scare me, and they don't scare me anymore, if that makes sense.
I love that. Because I'm scared of a lot of things, but when I do it, I'm like, I did it.
Yeah.
I did.
Exactly.
Oh, like, okay, Chanel, like now. You like, you did it. So you did it, Jason. You here.
Yeah, 100%.
How do you feel?
I feel blessed. Because I feel so blessed because it's better than what I anticipated. You get what I mean? Yeah. It's better than I knew it would be dope, but it's better. Like, everything that I heard this too before. You know, when they talk about the journey that you're going to be on in life, right? It's not necessarily about the things that you get, the things that you acquire, all that stuff is fine, but it's who you become in the process. And I like the man that I'm becoming, you feel me? I feel like so it's, yeah.
I love it, Jason. I want to say this to you. I'm proud of both of y'all. I want to tell y'all, like, it's sometimes we think we can't reach something and we reach it and then we see you. And then we see you and we like, oh, we can do it. If she could do it, if he could do it, I can do it. I love that you guys are so focused on what you want to do. Is there any advice for being in your world? Because it could be scary. Because right now actors are on strike. Yeah. It could be scary. What is something that keep you focused and how to stay motivated in the game you are in and in life in general?
Great question. That's an excellent question. Even when I did start off, when I was in college, like I said, some of my friends were in the creative field and they were putting blood, sweat, and tears into their craft. And they've been doing it since they were young. I would go to as many as I could in a single day. Got denied by every single one of them. Didn't work for me, right? But was the next step. I feel like when you're doing that, you activate the universe. You know, like you could say, think it's gonna go like this, but God has different plans, right? But the thing is like you gotta just go knock. You gotta go out there and put in just after you make the decision, do it, whatever that next step is. And I feel like God, I just always give glory to God because of I can see how it was in me, if that makes sense. So even with the writing strike, in general, right? it's different when you're like working, doing something with your hands, right? Or building something. But I'm literally going into as many people as this a room and saying basically, do you like me? Right? That's what it can feel like. So dealing with rejection, I booked 7 national commercials last year, right? But to get to that 7, which is unheard of, I had to go through 80 no's. I had to hear so many no's, right? So now I've been rewiring my mind to when I hear something like The Strike, I'm excited. It's the best time to start writing. Because once this is all said and done, who's going to be benefited, right? It's going to be the writers. It's going to be the people who are coming with the change and with the new momentum. So I feel like the timing is right. If I decided to do this 15 years ago, it might be different. People who look like me weren't in as many things, right? I started growing my hair when I was working my 9 to 5 as a rebellion, right? Now, I did this DoorDash commercial where I'm in an office setting with braids, with cornrows. Things that they told me if you had dreads and cornrows before, they were looking at you like you didn't belong. But so for me, I still feel like the spook who sat at the door. You understand what I'm saying? Like I still got that energy, but how do you get to change, to me, the world, right? A lot of times it comes through art. It comes through storytelling. You know, Bob Marley's been gone for how long, but we still listen to his music and he still impacts us today. That's right. So for me, this is the best form of rebellion because I could change minds and show stories that impact people. So.
I love that, Jason. I want to tell y'all, give it up for these two. Okay, y'all. Let's give it up for Jason and Robin. You guys are amazing. I want to say I thank you guys for coming up here. You guys inspired me. I see you guys on Instagram doing your thing. I know behind is even harder. So I want to start with you, Kia. How you doing, girl?
Hey, y'all.
So Kia, now a hairstylist. What hairstylist?
I'm a braid.
We here. I know you're braiding and all, but why your price is so high?
Why my what?
Your price is so high.
Girl.
I'm just playing with you. I'm just playing with you, girl.
The economy is high.
You know, the economy is high. You are an entrepreneur. That job is keeping us beautiful. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about keeping the women beautiful and like having us like just be outside like you feel good? When you get your hair done, don't y'all feel good? Mm-hmm. Ain't nobody can tell you nothing when you get your hair done. Okay, so how do you feel? How did your journey get started as a braider, as a hairstylist?
I've been braiding since I was 15, so I'm 22 years in the game. I've always been passionate about doing hair. I started doing my own hair because other braiders would stand me up. I'm real big on that. Like, I don't like for hairstylists or braiders, barbers, whoever, makeup artists, whoever, to be unprofessional and not show up to an appointment that a client books. So that's why I'm very passionate about what I do.
Passion. How important is passion for you? Because being an entrepreneur is hard. Because it's not like you go to a 9 to 5 and you guaranteed your money all the time. Mm-hmm. But now it's like you got to work even harder for the customers to come back. The customer service got to be on point. The prices got to be on point. Mm-hmm. How hard is it for you to keep going? And what do you do to stay focused and motivated?
My motivation is my kids. The fact that I have a passion for what I do. I've been in the game, like this being my actual bread and butter, like me being an entrepreneur. It's been 11 years. I got fired from my job driving buses.
Man, getting fired from your job, y'all, something else. I got fired before. I ain't gonna tell why, but I got fired before.
Yeah, so I got fired and I told myself I'll never work for nobody else ever again. And because that was my hustle in high school at 15, I just decided to go back into just building my clientele back up after I got fired, letting everybody know, okay, y'all, I'm back braiding. I was braiding in my kitchen. And then I went to like 2 different shops. And then I had a private studio, and then I just recently had a storefront. And unfortunately, I shut it down after the pandemic, but I know
that had to be hard for you. You know what's something I admire about you is that you really get the kids involved. You teaching the kids how to braid. I know somebody in here that want their kids to learn how to braid, because Marche used to braid our hair back in the day in high school. We always need a hairstylist in our family. Like, how important is it? That's giving back to the kids, because that's a craft that they don't know that they need sometimes, not just for themselves, but for other people.
Right.
How do you feel about that?
Well, I don't know if people really notice that braiding hair or being a hairstylist is like a trade. Yes. Like, no matter what's going on in the world, you can always make money from it. So I just feel like me braiding hair is like a gift. I have a gift for doing what I do, and I actually love doing it. And I've just realized over the past 7 years of me teaching people how to braid, I actually like teaching them how to braid more than braiding hair.
Go, girl. Teaching is a little something different, huh?
Yeah, but I have a lot of patience for it, so it really brings me joy to know that I can teach somebody and they can actually grasp the concept, the skills, and the techniques to get to braiding. Of course, it takes a lot of patience and practice, but as long as you stay consistent and you practice, you're going to get better at it.
I love that. What is something that you can say that you didn't know then that you know now about entrepreneurship?
Ooh.
Girl, tell us. Tell us, girl.
I didn't know. Mine started from, like, fight or flight. It was no other option for me. So just to know that it take a lot of risk to be an entrepreneur. It ain't no 9 to 5. It's 24/8. Not 24/7. But what I didn't know back then was, like, you really have to take risk. Like, and you have to know that if this is something you want to do, you got to be all in regardless. And my mindset be like, ain't nobody coming to save me. I got to make it happen. So
you a survivor.
Yeah.
I love that. Being a survivor in the game that you're in, it's in and out. It could be a time when, like the pandemic, people don't want to come in and don't want to get touched, don't want nobody to touch them. How was that for you?
Well, for me, my clients were still trying to come. And
you like, I need to get my hair done. I'll wear double mask.
Wait.
I was wearing triple mask up in there. I did not care.
I ain't even gonna hold you. Because I had a storefront, I realized that a lot of the solar salons, I used to have one, they got shut down during the pandemic. And because I had my own storefront, I kept it open. Just so happened the day I was working, I was my clients, y'all could come, but I would lock my door. And just so happened the day I was letting the lady out, one of the stylists from the solar salon, she called on me. And then the next day, the health department came and she was like, oh, you came. It was a black lady, but I was actually braiding when she came. So I'm like, this my cousin.
Right. We gon' I don't know what you talking about. I don't know what you talking about.
But no, she was like, you're not supposed to be working. I'm like, well, okay, well, I'll just finish her hair, then I shut down. So I started telling people, like, park in the front and then just knock on the door. But I had to do it. Like, a lot of people don't know, but I was living in my shop during the pandemic. I had went through a domestic violence situation. Had just broke up with my ex. He beat me up in my shop in front of my kids, and I made a decision to walk away from my 3-bedroom in Irvine to, like, I just had to thug it out. And I knew, like, if I left my apartment, I had the means to make money in my shop. Now I had an office, so I had to make it work. I had futons in my office to where me and my kids were sleeping in my office, and I just made the whole situation work. I ordered a refrigerator. Luckily, around the time they shut the world down and I had to homeschool my kids, I was literally, like, cooking in my shop,
doing your thing.
Like, I made it work through the whole pandemic and nobody knew.
Go, girl. When they say a woman's worth, huh?
Listen.
What they say, can you bring to the table, huh?
Listen, baby, you better bring a table to this table, because I got a table with the tablecloth.
What? I love that, Kia. I love that you shared that with us, being that you came from something that look at you now. Ain't nothing stopped you, girl.
Nothing.
And that's what I love about you, that I see that you just persistent. Mm-hmm. You keep going. You don't look back. And I want everybody to know that. Don't look back at whatever happened then, because it's a future ahead of you. Mm-hmm. What is some advice you could give to the people about the future?
Honestly, like Robin had said, like, it's, and My doctor, my new doctor.
Ebony, she had to go. She had to do some doctor things. She had to go real quick.
No, but like the whole thing is like God got you. If you got faith in God and knowing that if you write down your goals and what you want to manifest and you pray
Yes.
it and you work towards it and don't let nobody stop you, you can make anything happen. So,
I love that. Let's give it up for her. I love you, Morgan. And TGN, I'm gonna give y'all a little backstory on Keith. Keith has a production company. He how many podcasts has you opened up before? Well, let's just get into your journey. How about that one?
Yeah.
You started from your basement.
Yes.
Tell them what you do and where you are now.
So I own a production company now, but originally I started from my dad's basement, like she said, for my own show, and then I built over 4 independent radio stations on my own. I've had over 40 different shows come to my network and over 150 different personalities that I was responsible for.
Check him in. Let's give him a clap for that now.
Yeah. But I guess you could say I've owned over 4 different locations. I had 2 locations in Culver City, 1 in Westchester, 1 in Hawthorne, 5 actually, and I actually own 1 in Dallas as well. So I was also flying back and forth a lot, spending a lot of money trying to make my dream come true, as they would say.
And you doing it, Keith.
Appreciate it.
I'm gonna tell you, he put me on to something. He did a podcast pit live, and the scariest time of my life was my first podcast. Everybody think I'm not scary, but I'm scary. I'm scared right now, okay? So he was like, you gotta come to the podcast pit and you gonna do a live show. And y'all know y'all have the bubbles. I had the bubbles. And when he told me, oh, you gonna be last, I'm like, oh, he want me to be a performer. I gotta put on. I wanna say to you, Keith, how is it for like getting people out there? Like people don't believe in podcasts as much no more, but podcasts has really kind of helped me a lot to see different lights and different things. And being that I started in 2017 and now like you were my first time doing a live show, how do you feel about putting me on to live?
I mean, well, something you said I kind of disagree with. I think podcasts is bigger than ever. The industry is blown wide open. I think what we understand it as has changed, right? Most of us think it's just for entertainment. But I know doctors who got podcasts that's making 6 figures because they have their market, they have their people. Everybody's not talking about Hot Topic and who's president.
Right.
Some people are talking about shoes. Some people are talking about dogs. Some people are talking about books, and they're making money because they're staying in their lane. So I think it's important for people to stay in their lane and whatever they know, talk about that. And I think that's something that you was doing. You talked about what you knew, right? And when I met you, when we came together, you're talking about R&B music. If y'all know G, that's,
I
that's
love R&B.
right?
Don't put a little thing, I do a little thing like this. Don't put a little R&B on. Go ahead, Keith.
But yeah, I think that's just, I feel great. I have a knack for pushing people further than they want to go. That's always been my gift. I love motivating people. And if you're around me, I'm not going to let you just be comfortable. I'll make you very uncomfortable all the time. So if you tell me you don't want to do something, I'm like, bet, that's what we're going to do.
Yes, because I know you be running 5 miles and stuff. That's something I don't want to do, but I need to get out there, huh? What is something that you learned being in this field as a black man? Because, I feel like our culture now on the internet is talked about back and forth, black men, black and white, and black culture and women and men. It's so against each other. How do you stay focused as a black man when you see the world saying all type of negative things about us?
I think most important, whatever people think, I was just telling her, I don't care what y'all think. Like,
Right.
I really do not care what y'all think. Like, nobody pay my bills. I don't care. So for me, I understand the plights of a black man, but I never come into it like I'm a black man. First, I say I'm an individual with something to offer. Let's start there. Individual with something to offer. I got degrees. I got paperwork. What you need, I got it.
Right.
So the only thing that is going to stop me is me being black, first of all. You know what I mean? So I understand that. So I understand that I get the opportunity to change what people think about black men. And I see that as an honor. I really do.
Yeah. I'm proud of you. If ain't no black woman told you, I'm proud of you too.
Oh, well, thank you.
I'm proud of all my men in here.
Thank you.
I want to give you one more. Advice to our women and our men about staying on a journey even when you fall off? Because you fell off and you got back up.
Yes.
Got up and got back in.
Hard.
How did you do that?
I think that, I'll just be transparent. Like me, I've been an entrepreneur for years now. And entrepreneur means I don't have 9 to 5. Like, I pay my bills off of what I do every day. And so that's a big difference. It's not a side business, not a side hustle for me. I wake up every day and I go to my place of business and I try to figure it out. I think what most people try to do is be perfect. And that's what stops most people from taking a leap of faith or even just showing up to try to do it. They try to be perfect. And perfect ain't it. It's just progress. If y'all would have heard my shit in 2015, I'd be like, how is he ever going to be the person he is now, right? And now I'm a college professor. I teach this to college students. I'm actually the first college professor to teach podcasting for college credit in the state of California.
Hey, let's give it up. How do you feel about that? That's a great accomplishment.
Thank you. It goes back to what we said at the beginning. Podcasting has changed where it's at now, and now even everybody's starting to understand it. Before, people didn't take it serious, like, it's all about radio. Now people are saying podcasts, oh, people are making money. Oh, it's a $3 billion industry. We need to pay attention. Kids are interested. So I think now university and everybody's starting to understand that this is something that we have to start teaching. It's like music now. It's up there with music, so I feel great about it. I feel like I deserve it, first and foremost. I fucking deserve it. I don't care what nobody say. If you know my story, I fucking deserve everything. So that's how I feel about it. I feel like it's about time. It's about time. And I'm gonna say this. If you're thinking about starting a podcast, you think it's saturated, listen, no, it's not, bro. Like, you still can make some money, like, and it's not hard to do. All it requires is consistency and you to keep saying yes. The end.
Hey,
that's it.
You gave us the end, huh?
That's the end of that.
I want to ask you this last thing, because I did say last thing, but one more.
No problem.
I want to ask you, as a black man having a family, keeping that family-oriented group and still being in business, because I know it can be hard being an entrepreneur, and people don't know the balance of life sometimes. How do you keep that balance, and how do you tell us how we should keep our balance with family and career?
Let me tell you, I just figured that out last year when I went through the worst time in my business, right? I changed everything I was doing. I pivoted. I lost all my income. You remember, right?
Yeah. I didn't want to say I remember, but I do.
I lost all my income. I didn't know what to do. I had to shut down some of my locations. Shit was getting bad. And I said, you know what? This is an opportunity for me to focus on my family, because no matter what, how bad I was doing, when I came home, I realized my daughter was still like, Daddy. And I'm like, damn, she don't even care. You know what I'm saying? So she don't know. And she doesn't care regardless. You know, I had all the money in the world and I had no money. She treated me the same. And that's when we really realized, like, this is the most important. So what I actually did, which was hard to do, I'd never done this before, I said, I have to make my family the priority first. I used to be like, if somebody from the studio call, I'm on the way, right? Now I'm like, I'm doing homework with my daughter. He's going to have to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? So
I hear you.
That transition actually made my business jump, and I became way more valuable as an individual.
First, they said ladies first, so you know you got to start, Coco. All right. I love your earrings, by the way. So I just want to say to you guys, thank you for coming to the networking experience. I do want to say, shh, in the background. I do want to say thank you, Coco. Thank you, Scoop, for coming. I chose you guys for the networking experience because I honor you guys' work ethic. I think you guys stay focused on your journey. I've talked to both of you guys on my podcast, and I felt like you guys can give some gems to the experience here. So I want to start with Coco. When I talked to you a couple of months ago, you said you weren't a baker. You learned from YouTube.
Yes, YouTube and Google.
YouTube and Google.
Yes. So my name is Coco, and I'm the owner of Coco's Lip Smacking Cupcakes, and I'm located in Lakewood, over by the Lakewood Mall. So I have a bakery. I opened it up about a year ago in October. I have a cupcake food truck. I have a cupcake cart, and yeah, I'm a self-taught baker. Taught myself everything I know. I do cupcakes, custom cupcakes, peach cobbler, cookies, and yeah, YouTube and Google was my best friends.
So you one day woke up and said you want to be a baker, or how did that happen?
I used to bake for fun, just out the box. And then I've always been like a creative person, like arts and crafts and DIY stuff. So I just wanted to teach myself how to bake from scratch. And yeah, I kind of did, just was like, I'm gonna start a business. But I mean, I had no idea, it would be this, but yeah.
And it's this. Are you proud of yourself?
I am very proud of myself. I was able to leave my corporate job that I was at for about 13 years in 2019. So right before the pandemic, actually. I was able to leave my full-time job and become a full-time entrepreneur.
And it's crazy because right before the pandemic, you thought you was gonna be booming right after that job because you like, people gonna want, and then the pandemic happened. How did that happen? How did that journey go?
It was actually a blessing for me because I have the food truck. So when all the restaurants were shut down, everyone was coming to the food trucks because we were still able to be open. So I was out on the food truck every week, every chance that I got, going to different spots. I was on Manchester and Western. I was over in Bixby Knolls, and I was just on the truck, and that really helped boost my business. But that was why I wanted the truck before I even wanted a bakery, because I wanted to be able to go to different areas and build up my clientele pretty much, and I wanted people to know my name, so by the time I opened the bakery, people would know who I was. Well, that was also a wake-up call because nobody still know who I was, but I did.
You be thinking they know, but they don't know?
I did have a good following, but it's like every time I transition into something new with my business, it's like I'm starting over. Yes. So with the storefront, I'm starting over.
How was it starting over? I know you had a journey where it was up and down, was it? And when you were going up and down, did you ever think like, I'm gonna be back and I'm gonna be better? Or did you say, I'm gonna open up a store like you did?
That's interesting. So it was up and down, but I always knew that I wanted a storefront. I knew that that was my vision. So on top of manifesting and praying for it, I also was working for it. When I got the truck, I had no idea how I was going to get it. I just knew that that was what I was going to get, and I was working towards it, and then that happened. So with the bakery, when I applied for it, that was only the second location I'd have ever applied for, and I just applied just to see if I could get it. I didn't really think I was gonna get it, but I got it, and I had to do a full build out. So that took almost a year, and during that time, that was probably the hardest time of my life in my business, because I really didn't think those doors were gonna open. It was a lot of work, a lot of trials and tribulations, a lot of tears, but I made it. Thank God I have a great support system. My family is here, my best friend.
Nothing like support.
Yeah, they all come through for me whenever I need them. So, by the grace of God, I'm here.
I love that. How important is it to keep God first in this journey? Because even if you don't believe, you got to believe in something. Right. So having that higher belief in something, does that keep you more motivated than anything?
For sure. I have to keep my faith very strong, because I think someone else already touched on this. You have to have faith. You have to, because literally everything that we're doing is paying our bills. Yes. So I have high hopes for every day that I open the bakery, that, it's going to be a great day at the bakery. I'm going to make so much money. And there's times where I make less than $200 in a whole day. But I can't do nothing but come back the very next day and say, all right, so now I'm here today. And today's going to be a better day than yesterday. Sometimes it is in there, sometimes it's not. And I want to cry, but it's like I remind myself, what is crying going to do? Because I used to be stressed out all the time, but I remind myself that's not going to do anything. So I have to just remember to keep praying and keep having faith, and just, God didn't bring me this far to let me fail. So I have to remind myself of that.
You believe it's only up from here, right?
It better be. It's only up. But that's a part of my prayer, to keep me going forward and never take me backwards.
Yes. Keep you going forward. What keeps you going forward? What keeps you keep going forward?
Honestly, when I think about how far I've come, because I think that something that entrepreneurs, we fail to do is celebrate our small wins. Yes. And I struggle with that a lot. Like, it'd be my friends and family that would remind me, like, oh my God, you did that, oh my God, you did that. And I'm like, okay, but I'm not where I want to be. But it's like, it's almost like you're slapping God in the face, like, look at everything that he's done for you, all your small wins to get you where you're at. So that's what I try and focus on.
I love that. Can you leave us with something that you keep with you every day, something that you say to yourself every day to keep you going? Do you say, what type of prayer do you say, or do you manifest it every day, like, this is what I'm gonna do, this is what I'm gonna do? Is it something that you say to yourself?
Yeah, every day I pray for a positive and productive day. I pray that today will be a better day than yesterday. I pray that I'll be a better business owner, a better person in general than I was the day before. And I pray that you will continue to keep my business successful and that we continue to go forward.
I love that. Give it up for Coco. What up, Scoop?
G, what's happening?
You know, everybody know G is the vibe now. You gonna bring it out. How are you doing today?
I'm well. Thank you for having me. I really love this. Like, I'm walking around like, okay, it's the details for me. I love this.
I told everybody when they was hitting me up, like, are we gonna be sitting there listening to panelists for 4 hours? I say, just come. Just come. But I want to say to you, I'm proud of you. Photography. You know, catching the vibe of even this experience. Like, how is it to catch a vibe and take photos of people and get in a room and just be active with that and people just pay attention to your moves and being an entrepreneur in the game? How is it for you?
It's like, it's the best feeling for me. When you capture someone's like special moment, whether it be a wedding, a birthday, baby shower. Like, when I was younger, I didn't really like, my mom used to always make me take pictures. Just do another one, no, with your sisters. I'm like, I used to hate that. Like, but when I look back, I'm like, man, I wish I had way more pictures of a lot of more special moments. And it was certain people. So when I look at it from that lens, no pun, but when I'm in that environment, when I'm in these events, I look at it from that point of view and like, okay, this is something that, you know, this little 4-year-old, when he or she gets older, I'm responsible for this moment, this memory for them, that had I not take that picture, they probably wouldn't really remember it. So many things we don't remember from our, you know what I mean? So it's such a responsibility that I'm just blessed to have.
I want to know, how do you keep going? I asked everybody this, but how do you keep going even when they tell you no's? Because we do the carpets, and you know they tell us no 100 times because we don't have the portfolios or we don't have the experience, and then you get so. I'll cry to my boyfriend. My boyfriend like, get it next time, and he'd be like, you don't understand. I want it this time. How do you keep focused on it's okay for the no's and to keep going towards the yeses?
It's like, I forgot who said it earlier, but you got to have a strong why, because that's what's going to motivate you. You can't look for somebody else to motivate you or give you the yeses and things like that. So you got to know what you're doing it for. You got to stick to that. I will say, you know, my experience has been unique. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I haven't really necessarily been like told no or you know, but I will say this. I can tell, like, let's say I do an event for someone or pictures for someone, and I don't really hear a response from them after that, then I know, like, okay, well, maybe I could have done better. So I'm in my head with it. They don't tell me that, but I had one person, it was a friend of mine, but I told her, I'm like, I'm glad you're telling me this because I need to hear that feedback or else I'm gonna just think everything is cool. So that's gonna help me grow. So to answer your question, I just use it to help me grow and help me know, like, okay, well, for this person or for this event, I can't just do what I do, how I, do it over here. Like, you gotta kind of like do it a little different. So if you want to diversify your portfolio, like I've been doing, you can't shoot, everything the same way. I can't do an event like I can't do a party like I do a wedding or headshots like I do family portrait. It's just, you kind of got to tweak it so you learn those things. But those are the things that have happened where I thought like, okay, well, maybe I wasn't on my A game. Maybe I need to tighten it up. So I just use it as motivation again and learn how to get better at it. And then, just get them next time.
Okay, you told me a couple of months ago when you came to my show that you hate that you didn't keep your portfolio in the beginning, your first journey, your first picture. You know how important it is when I started the first networking experience, and I ain't got no photos. So nobody ain't gonna see the journey. How important it is for you to capture your journey even in your hard times. How important that is for you.
Very important now. And if you guys have seen my interview with her, you know that I have an award show as well. So having an award show, and we're in our 5th year. We'll be doing our 5th show this year. Yeah.
Go ahead, boy.
It's the Coco Awards.
Tell them what the Coco Awards is about.
The Coco Awards, it's an acronym. It's a celebration of culture and outstanding achievements where people like in this room will get an award. It's not about how many followers you have. It's about, like a lot of the panelists that were up here, you know, these are the people we award because we see the blood, sweat, and tears. We hear the backstories of when you feel like you couldn't do it or how we appreciate that, and we want to highlight that in a prestigious way. You know, there was a time where people were boycotting these award shows, and I always thought to myself, like, why are we crying about what they're not doing for us? Why are we not just building our own? Right. I just don't understand that. So anyway, I can just go deep into that. But anyway, so with that being said, there was every year that's my focus on make sure we capture it and just, you know, even if it's not, you know, where I want it to be, which is, we're close, but it's a lot of things that we want to fine tune. But as long as we capture it and, you know, because it's people who get up on that stage and receive their award and the things that, how they feel it, but they cry, you know what I mean? And it's like, man, like, I mean, I know that they're receiving it well, but I'm also thinking like, wow, like, no, they're really receiving it like, you know, like it's an Oscar, and that's how I want them to feel. So I want that to be captured. So, you know, when we start, you know, reaching out to have support, these people can see, you know, whoever may want to invest in us, they can see like, oh, okay, this is why we want to invest in this brand because it's really changing the community and uplifting
I love that.
us. Yeah.
You give back to the community, I must say.
Yeah.
I want to know from you, and this is my last question before I ask for advice, how important it is to give back to the community, because the Coco Awards is giving back to the community, like admiring the people around you, because I'm going to say one thing. I used to watch a lot of master classes on different people, and Issa was one of them, and she said, like, networking around you is the most important, because we think, like, we got to network big, and we got to network with the person with the most followers and the most attraction, but it's the person on the side of you that can give you the opportunity. It's the surface. So I want to say to you, how do you feel about giving back to the community with the Coco Awards and capturing those events of the Black culture? How do you feel?
Real quick, I want to piggyback off. I met Issa, and she said the same thing to me. She said the exact same thing. So shout out to her for being consistent about that. Because, yeah, it is about, you know, networking, you know, just across the board, like right here. These events are very important. But, yeah, so I take like I said earlier, a big responsibility in that because I know what it does for someone, for me to say, hey, I see you. I know what that's going to do because I know what it does for me. I know that's going to motivate you to be like, okay, wow, they not even noticing the little mistakes that's bothering me on a daily. They see like, well, at least you doing something.
Right.
Like, so my friends will always say like, bro, nobody's doing no awards. They not every year. They not giving out awards every year like you. And I'm like, okay, you know, so all the back office stuff, you know, that bothers me at times. You know, it gives me a moment to be like, okay, no, we are doing something that's deep. And we've even partnered with Education is Key. Shout out my girl, Nico.
Yes.
Yeah, she gives out scholarships to the kids in high school going to college or who are in college. So she's partnered with us, and now we've incorporated that into our show. So we give back to kids now. You know what I mean? Shout out to Favor Fridays. We give back to the, you know what I mean? Like these brands. I got to shout out, if I'm shouting people, I got to shout out my sister, Milk by Millie.
Yes, Millie.
Because not only is she a boss in her own right and has her own brand, but she's a very, very, very important part of the Coco Awards. And, you know, me being a photographer has made me embrace being behind the scenes so much that it's like, I don't even necessarily want to be the face of any of my brands really, but I get that I have the vision and I have to express that. But my challenge right now is to make sure the people around me and my team, like my sister, understands it to where I don't have to be there and they can explain it. But I just say that to say, you know, I really just appreciate the culture and the community that we build, and more so than people having their eyes on me and thanking me for, you know, I'm always shouting at everybody else. That's what motivated me to do this in the first place. So
I love that. You guys, shout out to them. Okay, guys, I just want to say thank you guys for pulling up to the network experience. Coming to see us right here. And I got some special guests that I chose
become a doctor of nursing practice. And I think because of that, there was a lot of unnecessary delays. Had I had some guidance and some mentorship, or just even like going to an event like this and hearing about it, a little bit more helpful.
What do you think, as a Black doctor, have you learned the most about your culture and being in the field that you're in?
I've learned that we're not really heard in other words. There's a lot of biases that sadly people don't check at the door. And I've also learned that my patients and the culture that we're happy to have you there, a lot of people come in and they're like, I picked you because you're Black. And I have this problem, and I've read and heard that, you know, this is not being diagnosed, or these tests are being ordered because I'm Black. And that is really sad. The proof's in the pudding. It's all in the literature. But it's just nice being here for people that look like us, and knowing that I actually have the experience and the expertise to help them kind of make their healthcare decisions. And also, even the younger, because I think I'm part of this, so the younger teenage girls that are coming in and asking, hey, how do you become a nurse? You know, it's like, I'll use that time to kind of mentor them and tell them you can do exactly what I did and even more. So it's really nice.
When I see our culture in the medical field, I think it's so important because I go to the doctor for everything. When I say a stomach hurt, I'm like, stomach hurt. It hurt 2 days. Fix something. Like, you know, I had to go to the doctor like 4 or 5 times for them to actually find what's wrong with me. But when I do go to the doctor with our culture, I find that they know what's kind of wrong with you in a sense because they either experience or come from our backgrounds and things like that. But during COVID time, how hard was that?
COVID is my butt. I mean, I just had to make sure that I stayed rooted in Christ. I had to stay rooted in my own self-care. But it was very, very difficult. I actually worked in an outpatient setting, so I wasn't in the hospital. Like when we and I worked together, I was in a hospital setting. But now that I've become an advanced practice nurse, I was in an outpatient setting, but it was just as hard. I mean, I had patients who died. But luckily, I was able to kind of shift most of my medical services to telehealth. And so that was really nice to be able to increase access to care. I was doing everything that I could with patients just at home. And that kind of helped with my own work-life balance as well. Just working from home, I never thought I would be able to do that. And then it also caused me to go back to school and become a psychiatric nurse practitioner. So the thing about
Check you in.
So that's the unique thing about me. I have a doctor of nursing practice degree, and in addition to that, I'm sure the board certified. So I think, you know, I mean, when patients come to me, I can address everything, your mental health, and I'm certified to do that. I can address your family planning needs from birth until, you know, your bariatrics, and then if you have anything acute care
looking into buying homes?
Okay, working here. One thing that everybody thinks is you have so much business, you make all this money, just like that, something bigger. But really, when you're successful in real estate, it's based off of your network. And this is a network experience, right? So you get most of your business from your friends and family. So we have a good relationship with people and they're very business and things are all smooth. Now, as far as people wanting to buy a house, like you're saying. So it's a lot of different, everybody's situation is different. So you're saying you have to have great credit to secure. You don't have to have great credit. You can have as low as like 580 credit score. And it's more about your debt to income ratio. Like how much money do you have coming in and how much you have going out on regular, like current things. That's what most of the lenders look at when they're approving for a loan. But there's also other ways to do that as well. It's all kind of program. Anybody needs to know about any of these programs, just contact me later. Make sure I talk to you.
Yes. I think that relationships is important. I think a lot of people don't understand how relationships is important. And just like you said, being here, you can help someone buy a house, help someone fix their credit, like to get to where you want to get to. What is something that you learned that you didn't know then, that you know now about buying homes and getting people to buy homes, and how important is that?
What did I know being that? So I've been in real estate for a while. I started back. My mother started at the same time, and I've kind of been in and out since then. When I got my license in 06, I just lost a job and I needed to fund real estate business, but I didn't have the money, so I put real estate on the back and let the license expire. And years later, I'm still working. I got back into it because it's a passion. Something else to do to help people. So something I didn't know then that I know now is never think that you can't get a house. There's so many different programs and all these different connections. Like you said something about credit. If you're getting a lot of money, like say you have a job that's bringing in a lot of money, there's people out there, there's all kinds of things out there where you don't have to have good credit. You can go with them. It's hard money lenders. It's a lot of different avenues. It's a NACA program, you guys have heard of that. A lot of people heard of that, right? So the NACA program, it's not based off of your credit. It's based off of the money that you make. And it's really, a lot of people tell me it's for our community. It's made by Bank of America. So, but it's not based off of your credit. And that's just one avenue you can go.
So it's not hard, it's not unbelievable to get your house. It's not unbelievable to be in the field you're in.
No.
What do you do to keep going? Because you went back because it was your passion. Because a lot of people don't think that your passion can be something that you use to really help other people. So this passion of yours, how do you help people? How do you motivate people to say, buy your house, don't feel afraid, you can do it. Like, how do you do that?
Well, you gotta tap into, it's all about asking the questions. What's important to them? Like, why do you want to buy a house? Do you just want to buy it to say that you have one? Do you want to buy it for some rental income? Do you want your own space? Like, why do you really want to buy a house? And after they, answer that question, you go deeper into that and get into their motivation to let them realize themselves that they really want to buy a house. They want that house.
Okay, well, I want to ask you something, and this is my last question to you. Advice on how can you get started in the field you're in? Because you told us about these investments, but what is the first step that they would do to get into the real estate game or buy a home? What is their first step?
To buy a home or to start selling real estate? Okay, let's start with getting into real estate. All right, it's very simple. It's you take a class. I think you have about 3 weeks. It's about 3 weeks where you just take a class, pass the test, and then you sign up for your real estate plan. And if you focus on it, a lot of people fail this test because, if you're smart and you go take a test, you feel like you don't really have to study for it. It's not that hard. And people go into a test like that. It's all new information. So if you're looking to get into real estate, when you go take a test, you should study. Like, Like, take it serious in your passion. And that's all you need to do to get into real estate. But then after that, after you get your license, you find out which brokerage you want to work for. So you go interview the brokerages, like Berkshire Hathaway, Wood, EXP, whichever company. It's a lot of different companies. You see which one is right for you. That's how you get into that. Now, steps for buying a home. First step. First step is you want to find you a trusted real estate agent. Okay, second step is you're going to talk to the lender. That I usually couple that with the first step because the real estate agent usually loan officers start real estate agents all the time, like on email, Instagram, everything. They're constantly contacting them to get the business. So you talk to a lender, right? You have that consultation with that real estate agent. Then you talk to a lender to see how much house you can afford. So once you know how much house you can afford, after that, you go your house hunt. So real estate agent, you find a house that's right for you, the one that works for what you can afford, and the numbers they're offering, and that's when everything starts. After that, offer is accepted.
That's the beginning. So I want to tell y'all, this is our doctor and this is a real estate agent. When y'all see them be in this audience right now, don't talk to them. These are the people that you talk to that's not afraid. If you're afraid to go after something, these are the people you talk to because they are doing it right now. So I want to give it up to them for doing it. We want to do it live, so
And we do it well.
and we do it well, all of us. So before they go, I want to say that we all have wristbands on. You see a wristband? I don't have mine. You have a color wristband. I want everyone in this room, whatever color wristband it is you have, go to another wristband of a person you don't know right now in this intermission time and talk to them, get to know them, mingle with them. Don't be afraid to talk to them. We ain't here to network, y'all. So we're going to get this music started and make sure y'all go back there and get some food. One more thing. Do anyone have questions on these two people right here? You have a question? Do anyone have any questions on these two people right here? Yes. You want to come right here? Yeah. Just stand up and tell us. You have a question?
I do have a question. I'm Brent, I forgot your name. Zero. So thank you for coming up here and talking about the power of home ownership, because that's something that I really definitely right? And home ownership is like one of the ways to create generational wealth for people here. Right. Can you talk about what is the importance of building your credit? Right? Because you did say like sometimes you don't need good credit to buy a home. Credit is something that's very important. Right?
Yes.
You don't talk about it in our community. Can you just test on that a little?
So I did say you can have a lower credit score. It's not like end all be all, but having a better credit score is definitely going to help you more times than not. Like, it's better to have a better credit score. It's very important. Not just to buy a house, everything is like pretty much based on credit. You know, when you welcome people that have a lot of cash hands, they still use credit because they leverage that money. So credit can help them meet the place. So credit is very important.
Do anyone have a question for Anna?
You spoke on making that having no place when they want to see around. How do you recommend they address those issues? I say don't be afraid of finding a job. If you don't feel comfortable and you don't feel heard, it is absolutely your right to ask to be reassigned. And sometimes you may pick a couple of doctors and don't care about being labeled as being aggressive to their health. And once it's too late, it's too late. These people are at the top of making the decisions regarding their health plan. So it's something that you should be a part of. So they should just make decisions without sharing the responsibility with you. So make sure that you're using that shared decision-making process that your entire life. I love that. Let's give it up for them.
So on the way over here, me and my wife listening to this podcast, and it's a word that, so it's a positive word, but as far as like going for what you want and going for your goals, turn that positive word into a negative. The positive word is safe. And you know, when you're in a safe place, you're not trying to go out and do what you really need to do. So the acronym for the word was stay average forever. So you don't want to be safe. Go after what you need to go
I
for.
love you. Do y'all